Hello again and welcome. I'm Dan with Dash Office Supply, and this is the next video in our series on how to build better business credit. Dash Office Supply is a provider of net 60 trade lines to new and small businesses with no personal guarantee required, but there's more to our mission than that. We really do want to see our customers succeed in business, and a key part of that requires building positive business credit history. Doing so helps you improve cash flow, enables you to build better relationships with your suppliers and vendors, and ensures you have access to financial resources when the unexpected arises. Today's video is going to focus on something you've almost never heard about from the so-called credit experts on the internet. No isn't always the end of the road when applying for business credit. So you applied for a trade line that you really thought you'd get, and the computer came back with a big fat no. It sucks, right? Especially if it was one of those easy approval vendors that everyone on the internet tells you about and makes seem like such a sure thing. Worst of all, most of the time, the company you apply to won't even give you the reason for saying no. Instead, you'll get a thank you for applying letter and an invitation to come back and try again in the future. The problem is, and this is something else a YouTube guy probably didn't tell you, most of these companies will not let you reapply for 6 months, and in some cases even longer. Sure, they'll let you fill out another application, but it will just end up being rubber stamped with another no and not even be seriously considered until you're eligible again. But what went wrong? You did everything the expert told you to do. You even followed the hacks and tricks they teach you will guarantee approval. But for some reason it didn't work, and now you're sitting there all dejected and wondering what you did wrong. The fact is, you probably didn't do anything wrong. All those hacks and tricks, they're very rarely ever true, but they certainly get you to watch the videos, don't they? It's not much different in many ways than the people who all try to teach you the, quote, secret to winning the lottery. My question is, if it's such a secret, then how did they find out about it? And better yet, why would they share it with anyone else? Why not just keep winning and keep their mouths shut? In any event, it doesn't change how you feel about being turned down. And now you're sitting there staring at the denial on the screen, or you received a polite email or letter saying, thanks, but no. Seems like the end of the matter. But what if it may not be? What if there was one other thing you could do to maybe turn that no into a yes? I know you read the title of this slide. Did it occur to you to ask nicely and say, what? After all, the application is just a bunch of boxes and check marks you fill in, so how can you ask nicely? The answer is simple. Before giving up completely, why not pick up the phone and talk to someone? Almost every company that lets you apply online also gives you the option to call someone and complete your application over the phone, right? So even though you already filled out the application and were turned down, that doesn't mean you can't call that customer service number. And when you do, ask to speak to somebody in the underwriting department. Underwriters are people who are hired and trained to assess risk, and most of the time they have the authority to approve a credit application or even increase your credit limit even after the computer has already said no. When you call, the representative who answers may not make it easy, but if you're firm and polite when asking, they may generally will transfer your call to someone in the underwriting department. Keep in mind, the job of that person is to make the best decisions that protect the company's risk exposure, so be nice to them for starters. There's no reason for the call to become unpleasant if they still turn you down. Talking to an underwriter can give you the opportunity to explain why you're applying for a credit account with that company, and perhaps even tell them a little bit more about you and your business so they can take that into consideration if they're willing to review the application again. Now, keep in mind, this doesn't always work, but I have had more than a few situations where talking to an underwriter successfully changed the no I'd already gotten into an approval from that underwriter. Why? Well, because they're human too, and they're given the authority to make decisions based on their judgment. Talking to them on the phone makes you much more human to them than a computer application, and perhaps understanding your goals and your situation can make the difference. Sometimes it takes creative thinking to solve a problem, and the idea of talking to an underwriter probably doesn't occur to too many people. I would guess that it's not very common for underwriters to receive a phone call asking them to reconsider a credit denial, and it can appeal to their ego a little bit because they have the authority most of the time to change a computer based decision, especially if they feel like you're worth taking a chance on based on your conversation with them rather than just on the hard, cold facts of an application. Keep in mind, the answer was already a no, so there isn't anything left to lose at this point, and whatever you can do that can turn the situation around is worth a try, right? As I said, I've had more than a few occasions when I was first trying to build credit for one of my companies where taking the time and the effort to call and speak with an underwriter paid off, and I was approved even after the computer denied me. As always, we appreciate you watching today. And if you have any questions or want to know more about what we do here at Dash Office Supply, then feel free to visit our website at www.dashofficesupply.com, or you can meet us on social media. I'm Dan. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day.